Do you think I've talked about this series enough? Nah. Yes, this is another video about Pokemon. Rare to find that on my channel, huh? Well, this video is a little bit different because we're continuing our series on how Nintendo changed gaming by talking about their second best-selling series of all time, Pokemon. Pokemon is a game franchise that has spanned almost 2 decades, and over those 2 decades, so much impact has come from these mobile RPG masterpieces. Because these games are so massive in their effect on the gaming industry, I didn't think I could tackle it all alone. So I brought a friend along to help me with this video.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is DarkZekrom and we're here to tell you about how Pokemon changed gaming.
The first thing we have to do when talking about this series is addressing what genre it fits under. Pokemon is an RPG, but is an incredibly unique one, and that's what's opened the door to it spreading innovation to its genre.
As any true Pokemon master will tell you, these games are all about catching them all. That is, catching all of the Pokemon in that specific region. This is where Pokemon begins to differ from many RPGs of its time.
You see, with your mainstream RPGs like Final Fantasy and Chrono Trigger, you have an average of 8 to 15 different playable characters that can be swapped out as playable party members. While it is true that in Pokemon you can only have 6 Pokemon in your party at a time, you have hundreds of different characters to choose from, each with their own varying movesets, types, personalities, and stats. This provides near limitless possibilities for the setup of a team, meaning almost no playthrough will be the same. Games being produced around the period of the mid to late 90s were relatively linear in the ways you played them. Start at point A, go to point B, save objective C. It was similar every time it was tackled, and that's what held some games back, especially RPGs. But Pokemon destroyed that wall by allowing these massive possibilities of variation in gameplay.
And Pokemon's outreach doesn't just stop there. The TV show that we grew up watching is applicable to the same rules as the game, meaning that what you learn from the TV show directly correlates to what you're capable of in the games. This is one of the many advantages of having a show that spawns from a game rather than having a game spawn from a show as a spin-off. The show uses the same principles that apply to the game, therefore breaching a gap in media and expounding on the Pokemon universe.
Exactly. This can be applied to both the trading card game and the mangas as well. Now, how does this affect the selling power of Pokemon and the amount of impact it could spread throughout the industry? Well, that's where we turn to this little electric rat that everyone knows as Pikachu. No matter who you are, you have heard of Pikachu. Your mother, sister, grandpa, creepy neighbor, they have all heard of Pikachu. Hell, name any Pokemon, chances are, to that person, it's a Pikachu. Now, in the late 80s and early 90s, video game companies seem to be latching onto the idea of having a recognizable mascot that most of the time is more popular than the companies that created them. That mascot for Pokemon effectively became Pikachu. It started with the Pokemon television show that quickly became popular in the US as a reoccurring Saturday morning cartoon. As the Pokemon television show became known by the whole family due to its prominence on TV, so did the mascot of Pikachu. Once Pikachu's popularity was established, it was obvious what Game Freak had to do: make a game centered around the damn thing. And so it became known as Pokemon Yellow. While Yellow isn't regarded as the best in the franchise, I can honestly say it was one of the most important games in the series. Upon its release, it became the best-selling handheld game of all time, even beating the sales of Donkey Kong 64 that released around the same time. With Pokemon Yellow's release being in close proximity to the release of the first Pokemon movie in America, it was evident that the little yellow mascot of the series was a selling point of the franchise. Because he was a staple of Pokemon at that point, he attracted many non-gamers who were simply a fan of the TV show, along with others who simply recognized the picture on the front of the cartridge.
Because Pokemon Yellow attracted such a wide audience of loyal fans and newcomers alike, it brought all sorts of backgrounds to the game that it had established. It brought the diehards and the casuals into a realm where they could experience a franchise that was just finding its footing in the gaming industry. Which brings us back to where we began. The idea of having so many different characters in the game. In every iteration of Pokemon, we see 2 new games released alongside each other, having a select amount of Pokemon excluded from one version that is available in the other. With that comes the element of trading, just like you could with baseball cards to obtain those Pokemon that are unavailable to you. And since the release of Pokemon Yellow had attracted a large audience of varying background, Pokemon achieved what practically none other had before. It pioneered the first concept of a social game that could not only act as a conversation topic, but also could be a subject of forming friendship. It was the first game to introduce an interdependent social aspect to gaming. If I don't have a Sableye in my copy of Ruby, then I can trade Alfredo my Mawile for a Sableye, because those are each Pokemon that we can't obtain independently. We need each other to achieve that goal that we are both seeking.
And this is how Pokemon made its mark. While some could look at it as simply a game for kids, others look at it as a social experience, a way to bond and meet new people to unite over a common goal of enjoying these games. While it could be a small detail in some eyes, it is a massive part of how Pokemon changed gaming. Hello there ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for watching my video on how Pokemon changed gaming. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded, but I've been working on a lot to take this channel to the next level, along with being crushed under a ton of personal stuff. But I have a lot more free time now, and I can't wait to get back into making videos for you all. First, I would like to thank my special guest DarkZekrom for appearing on this video. He's a good friend of mine, and he makes some great gaming content, so you should go check out his channel below. In case you haven't seen my first video about how Zelda changed gaming, please click on the box to the left, and click on the box to the right to see the final video on how Nintendo changed gaming. Other than that, thank you guys for always being great and watching my videos, and I will see you next time.